Hi folks, this is Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today I've got another Wee Wednesday knife review for you. This guy is a knife by FURA, F-U-R-A, and it's got a clone logo on it. I'm going to talk about that during my review. I don't like that. The knife itself, I think I like quite a bit, but I'll have to talk about that later on in the review. What we've got is a Wharncliffe tip, a little swedge on it, S35VN steel. I think it might actually be that steel. It's performing very well, and a very unique kind of lockup. It's a very close copy of Serge Panchenko's Bean Generation 2 knife. Titanium handle scales, premium steel. So if you're interested in my take on this knife, stick around for the full review. I'm trying a different background today. This is just a real steel box. And, just using the back of it. And hopefully the video looks good this way. So there we go. This is that knife by FURA. You've got your SP logo here for Serge Panchenko. And I want to talk about that. This knife is a very close replica of the Serge's Bean knife, Generation 2 Bean knife. You can check it out at sergeknives.com and look for his Bean knife. Wharncliffe tip. This is S35VN steel. Serge uses a different steel on his. You've got this very unique system here. He doesn't call it a lock. It sort of functions like a lock, but, it really is a detent. So it's a detent that really sort of locks up fairly well. And, it's got this sort of bean shape to it. I think that's why he calls it the bean. And, one hand opening, you put your thumb inside that little hole and pull it open, and there you go. You've got that big access, and you need that big access to push on that detent arm. And then you push the detent arm out in the way, and then you can close it. It's sort of a two-hand closing kind of knife. And, that's what this knife is. I've got another bean-style knife that is another copy of one of Serge's knives, and we'll be doing a review of that on another day. This is for a Wee Wednesday, and I really like this knife. It's just almost too big for a Wee Wednesday. It really is a three-finger hold. And I like to call my Wee knives the ones that are 2 fingers or less for a hold, but I'm putting this on my Wee Wednesday anyway because I think it's suitable for the Wee Wednesday kind of videos. What do we got here? What else do we have? Well, we've got a saber grind. We've got big sharpener's choil there. TC4 titanium handle scales. That's different titanium than Serge uses, but he uses titanium as well. And, this is got, I'll show you what it uses for the pivot when I take the knife apart, and I'll give you some still pictures of that. It doesn't have any blade play, nothing side to side, nothing up and down until, it's locked up like this. Now, see, look at that lock arm. You can make it move. Notice that spot get really thin there. So it sort of has not a loose blade play, but that whole arm can move a little bit. So it does have a little bit of blade play in that it moves that entire arm, that titanium detent arm. Other than that, everything's good. The alignment when it's closed is very good. And, it's nice and firm when it's open. It's a decent knife for what it is. And what it is a very close copy of Serge's Bean Generation 2 knife. Now, let's talk about this logo right here. I hate, and that's not a strong enough word, that FURA put that logo on there. I saw the logo on the pictures. I got this knife sent to me by GearBest. And, so I'm reviewing it because I promised to review the knives that they sent to me. But I really, hate is a weak word for what I feel about that. That being said, I don't honestly think that too many people are going to be thinking they're buying a Serge Panchenko knife when they go to GearBest and get this. And that in large part is because all the descriptions say FURA all over the place. All the text all over this item on the website say FURA. So that sort of is covering their butt in, to a great extent. I don't think people are thinking that they're buying a Serge Panchenko knife, and that helps. If I thought that this was trying to be promoted as one of Serge's knives, I would be totally against it completely. Right now, I'm just, partly against it. I really wish they just would have left it blank like they, some of the other knives that are in this series have. I would much, much prefer that. Okay, so I've said that. You guys can air your opinions and stuff. I won't be debating in the comment section below. You can say your piece as long as you say it without being offensive. I don't swear and stuff on this channel. I try to keep it child friendly because there's a number of parents that watch with their children. Mature people should be able to talk just fine without having to swear. And I know from my channel that we don't do that here. I've got 1,800 subscribers now, and it's been a clean channel 99.999% of the time already. And I've got a great bunch of viewers and followers and subscribers. So thank you very much. But when we get heated in our conversations, sometimes it's easy to fall into patterns of dialogue that are less mature. That's all I'm going to say. Let's talk about all the dimensions, and we'll cover that for this knife. We've got a cutting edge of 4.4 centimeters. That's 1.7 inches. The blade length from the end of this handle here, the little part that sticks out, to the tip of the knife, 5.1 centimeters. That's 2 inches. The blade thickness, we've got 3 millimeters. I just about said centimeters. That'd be a thick blade. That's 0.12 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind is pretty heavy. That means pretty thick. We're talking about 0.77 millimeters of thickness right after this final grind comes and you start getting into the saber grind. Right there, 0.77 millimeters, that's 0.03 inches. The handle length, so the titanium bit here, is 6.8 centimeters long, that's 2.7 inches. The grip area, so the end of the handle here till this starts to turn, the radius starts there, 6.3 centimeters, 2.5 inches. The handle thickness is right around a centimeter, right around 0.4 inches. The open length of this knife is almost exactly 12 centimeters, 4.7 inches. It weighs 1.4 ounces, which is around 39 grams. How much is this knife going to cost? In US dollars, it's just under 20 US dollars with about just under $2.50 shipping, if this is the only thing you buy. In Canadian dollars, we're looking at $27 plus a little over $3 shipping, so right just over $30 Canadian total if this is the only thing you buy. If you buy 2 of them, then your shipping charge gets cut in half per knife, approximately. And so, I always suggest to people when they go to GearBest to wait until you're going to buy 2 or 3 knives and then, buy those that way. If you're a Canadian, try to choose the option of CA registered when you go to checkout for shipping. I've realized that recently that option's not always there and they're only letting it ship through Sweden or something. The shipping options are constantly changing with GearBest, and that's frustrating for everybody. I really enjoyed it when they had CA registered because that means they came through Britain and our CBSA agents sort of they weren't as strict with the knife laws for packages that come through Britain. Really like that a lot. I won't belabor that either because a minority of my viewers are from Canada. So what do we got here for the features? Well, this system here, this detent kind of lock, is very unique, but it works. I shouldn't be doing this, but I put my hand around the handle and I trust it when I push forward not to close on my hand because I've had enough experience with this detent ball that it holds very, very well. I'm not going to push too hard though, but I haven't done any spine whack kind of test to see if I can overcome that detent ball because it is just a small little knife. It's something that you're not going to use for really hard tasks and stuff. You're not going to use this for beating on a piece of wood, for instance, or something. So it's technically a slip joint that holds really, really well. So well that I'm not sure if, an officer in, the UK, if you're using this knife, if you have it out in public or something, I'm not sure if they're going to say that's an illegal knife because it's got a lock. I don't know. I can't speak for police officers, but I've got a funny feeling that if this knife, was inspected by an officer in the UK, they might just call this a locking knife. Although technically we don't call it a locking knife on this channel. It's a slip joint knife. So I would be careful with this if you have it and you're using it in the UK. You're probably only going to want to use it on private property. So it's got that. It's got a really cool Wharncliffe blade here. I like the shape of that. That's really nice. I like the big old sharpener's choil there. I like its lightweight materials. And, it's pretty nice. What doesn't it have? It doesn't have a lanyard hole and it doesn't have a pocket clip. There we go. You can see how close that knife tip gets to that open pillar. So it's not a good pillar to wrap a paracord around because you're going to nip the edge of it, with this blade. So it doesn't work for that. So basically it's a pocket dropper. It's going to function the way it is. For some people, that's a negative. I don't really mind. I often have little knives like this as pocket droppers. I'd probably put it in my coin pocket that most of my jeans have. It's not bad. The main thing that I don't like is that they put that little bit of branding on there. I just wish they would have put something totally unique in there, maybe FURA's own branding. Well, that would be definitely much better, or just nothing. It bothers me. It bothers me a lot that they've got the SP right there. It does. So there you go. There's the knife. Let's try some cut tests. So I've got just some regular paper here. And it's not cutting that well, is it? I have to do a little bit of a slicing. I can't just do a push cut where I'm pushing through the same spot. And that's because this steel is pretty thick. And honestly, it didn't come all that sharp from the factory. It's pretty close to the sharpness that it came from the factory. So that's not a huge plus. It's not a super huge negative either because I can still cut other things with it. Here's my banding. This is like molly banding, and cut through that without too much of an effort. So that works. And I can cut through paracord. So I've got some paracord here and, cut through both of those layers. It cuts okay. It just didn't come as sharp as I'd like it to. And I did try sharpening it. I did just a very little bit. I do actually think that this is S35VN because it's not as soft. It doesn't sharpen as easy as 8CR13 or even 440C does. The Rockwell on S35VN is usually between 60 and 65, the hardness of the steel. And this steel has shown to me that it's fairly hard. And I'm somewhat confident that it is the steel that they say that it is. So there you go. That's the knife. What do you think of it? What do you like, dislike? Give me all your comments, your feelings, and all that other good stuff in the comment section below. This summer, I'm only putting out 2 or 3 videos a week because I'm off in southwestern Ontario visiting family and friends and doing some other things. And we'll be going back full steam in September when I get back home to Alberta. And I'm pre-recording a lot of these reviews, and then I'll just sort of edit them and post them over the summer. Thank you so much for watching and for liking and all that other great stuff. And remember, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.